A couple of years back, I reviewed this Demons and Familiars, a Contemporary Guide to Demonology. This book was written by Melinda K Lyons, who claims to be a psychic medium and demonologist. I didn't like this book. In fact, here's a little of what I had to say about it.
Just simply based off this book, Melinda wouldn't be on the list of people I'd call for anything. This book is unusable as a guide, and anyone who knows anything about the paranormal or has done a small amount of research would never recommend this book as a guide for anyone going through anything spiritually related. Pages and pages of rambling and nonsense. This book is not scary, it's not funny, it's not interesting, it barely has a so-called guide, and I had to force myself to finish it. No one finished this book. It's flat out bad. It's better than gouging out your eyes with daggers, but it falls short of the entertainment you'll get from watching paint dry.
Now, fast forward to the present, and we are greeted with another book from Melinda K Lyons. Demon Dealer. Unlike Demons and Familiars, Demon Dealer isn't a guide on how to protect yourself from demons and what to watch out for. Nope. Instead, it's Melinda telling us her origin story and how she's become the powerful light warrior demonologist that she is today through trials and tribulation. So, is Melinda's latest book a thrilling look into her life, bringing us a new perspective on what it means to be a demonologist and fight off dark, twisted entities for the betterment of mankind? Or is it just a glorified fan fiction from a woman wanting to be something she's not with an overactive imagination? Well, let's find out. I'm Melvin, and this is Unexplained Possibilities Reviews Demon Dealer. Demon Dealer is comprised of 9 chapters spanning across 365 pages total. Gone is the art that separated the chapters that was found in Demons and Familiars, which is a shame since that was one of the few things I enjoyed about that book. However, there are 2 pieces of art to be found in Demon Dealer drawn by Melinda, and they're both really good. What she drew were entities supposedly haunting clients of hers, and it really shows her talent of drawing. So much so, I don't know why she didn't sketch out images of the demonic and angelic entities she's come across during her journeys. The cover art of Demon Dealer is very pleasing to the eye, and the book itself feels great in the hand. The book doesn't feel cheap or like it'll fall apart on you. It really looks good on a shelf and stands out nicely. Now, as for content in the book, well, it'll also stand out, but for the completely wrong reasons. While this book isn't a guide, Melinda does share what she deems to believe is insightful information that most people have wrong. For instance, sleep paralysis is actually a psychic attack by demonic entities or other dark forces, or the Higgs boson, aka the God particle, being some divine force that allows us to break spiritual limits and become powerful deities in our own right. Without going too deep into it, sleep paralysis has been known and talked about since the 10th century. It's a common occurrence with 3 million cases a year, and that number is from the US alone. To put it simply, your brain wakes up before your body, or your body falls asleep before your brain. The sleep paralysis state can last for seconds or minutes, maybe even hours. It depends. During that time, people hallucinate and see monsters or aliens. This is partially where succubus incubus lore comes from, as well as alien abductions. Melinda seems to not have done deep research into this and focuses on the hallucination part, mostly to claim it's an attack from demons. With the Higgs boson, she's gotten caught up in the God particle name and created some weird narrative in her mind. Really, it's nothing special unless you're a physicist and madly in love with science. So, are you a physicist, Melinda? I don't think you are. And to put this simply, the Higgs boson was a theory from the 60s, later confirmed to be true in 2012, and it's a particle that gives mass to matter. It has nothing to do with religion or spirituality. It's called the God particle for two reasons. The first is because scientists had to have faith that the thing even existed, and the second, which is more likely the real reason for its name, is because physicist Leon Lederman wrote a book and wanted to name it, and I'll use the kid-friendly term, the God darn particle, because it was so hard to find. The publisher rejected that name, so instead he titled it The God Particle. If the universe is the question, then what is the answer? I had to ask myself, what the heck is Melinda going on about in regards to the God particle? Answer: she doesn't freaking know. I'm not entirely sure Melinda knows what a demonologist is either, which is odd because she actually has the definition in her book. The definition of demonology in the Wikipedia states, demonology is the study of demons or beliefs about demons, especially the methods used to summon and control them. However, she tosses that definition aside, and she pretty much states that a demonologist doesn't work with demons and instead learns how to work against them. She has some weird concept of a demonologist being a type of spiritual cop, and that's just not the case. She's making it out to be something grand, and it's quite disturbing. Throughout this entire book, I've found its exaggeration to the extreme and a lot of bad information. She has to be the most unstudied demonologist who boasts about them being a demonologist. She doesn't appear to know of any demonic entities outside of the 72 goetic demons found in the Ars Goetia, which is one of 4 books that comprise of the Lesser Key of Solomon. She doesn't mention the other 3 books. She's also using the Book of the Goetia of Solomon the King edition of the Lesser Key of Solomon, but she neglects to mention why she chose that over the other versions. Does she even know it's several other editions of the Lesser Key of Solomon? I mean, if she's a demonologist, why didn't she use Joseph H. Peterson's version of the Lesser Key? His version is considered to be the definitive version. Why didn't she mention the belief that the goetic demons come from a corruption of the Mesopotamian gods? This left me with the belief that she's not a demonologist and is only cosplaying as her idea of one, which is rather warped. When I read Demons and Familiars, I consulted with a psychic occultist for information on claims Melinda was making. The claims Melinda makes in Demon Dealer are so huge, I consulted with 5 occultists, some of them being psychics of various backgrounds, abilities, and cultures. One of them being an actual exorcist and demonologist who openly works with gods, jinn, goetic demons, angels, and more. When I told them some of the stuff Melinda was saying in this book, 3 out of the 5 laughed. Melinda's claims are just not in reality of something that's already outside of the realms of reality. She seems to be bosom buddies with Jesus, who she calls by his original Hebrew name, Yehoshua, fights demons on the astral realm, but also saved by angels left and right on the astral realm, Archangel Michael in particular. And then there's also her twin flame and her guide, Hunter. This has me questioning if Melinda actually has any friends on this 3-dimensional realm. While she mentioned some people from years ago in her past, she didn't talk about any in the present, which makes me think more and more she's lonely, and a good portion of this is in her mind. Also, there is some weird attraction most of the guys seem to have for Melinda, including Archangel Michael, who confesses his love for her at one point. No joke, he confessed his love for her. He also mentions how special she is, which is a very, very, very reoccurring theme in Demon Dealer. Dear Melinda, what happened to you was never your fault, and Satan is using the pain to hurt you. You must know by now that I love you and care about you. You're very special and have so much ability to help so many people. What makes you so special is how much you care for humanity. Your heart is what makes you special. You're far from a loser, Melinda. Okay. Again, this makes me think she's lonely on top of wanting to be something she isn't. In Demon Dealer, Melinda puts angels on quite the pedestal and making them out to be saviors of all. It's a very Christian way of viewing them. Any occultist who works with angels, or real demonologists and angelologists, will tell you angels can be quite prickish, scary, and selective. They're not the heroes Melinda is trying to make them out to be. That doesn't mean they're villains either, but they're certainly not this rainbow in love she's spouting out. I'm not even sure Melinda actually knows the ranking of angels or about angels outside of what she's heard someone speak about. She constantly mentions Archangel Michael, but that's all she mentions. Also, why would he be so interested in her and always saving her? It comes off like a girl making something up. Well, we know why, because she's special. Melinda likes to remind the reader how special she is. It's annoying and only serves the purpose of stroking her ego. These are just a few examples of this. This is a demon speaking to her. You are someone he wants. You don't even know what or who you are, but my Lord does, and he instructed I stop you before you find out. Oh, Melinda, Melinda, you're lying to yourself and you know it. You must know by now on just how special you are. Haven't you heard it? The whispers from everyone has been saying. You're the next woman to reunite the next level of consciousness to humanity. You're the threat that even Lucifer would do anything for him to have. Think on it, kid. Haven't you ever felt a different side of yourself that makes you feel like you don't belong on Earth? So, for context on this, she just summoned a powerful demon and he's impressed. I see. Most men are not able to surpass my supreme voice, but here I am greeted by a small girl that seems to have a unique tolerance than most. I am impressed. And if you can't tell by the examples, the dialogue is pretty bad. I don't know how she thought the way she framed the dialogue was any good. Most of it not only comes off as sounding unreal, but many times while reading, I caught myself cringing. Legit cringing. This is page 106 and 107. Me. Why would Satan be so focused on me? Unless it's something about me he's afraid of. Doesn't sound like a tough lord if he's so fearful of me. It was here I began to ponder in on what the demon wasn't saying outright, but it suggested that this demon was purposely demanded to confront me for a reason. A big reason that I still had no idea about. Demon, he isn't afraid of you, and neither am I. With that, the obeying creature lunged at me with full force, throwing us both against the wall opposite the door. Both of our bodies flung crashing into the contact of the breathing wall. The smell engrossed us as I was now pinned against my will, unable to move. Sinking its nose into my neck as it inhaled the smell of my fear, snarling as I visually noticed its pleasure in my uncertainty. Can you smell that? Your fear. It's so tantalizing. Ugh. The writing itself as a whole isn't the worst, and it's passable, but it's certainly low-level writing, in part because it doesn't feel natural. This doesn't feel like someone sharing their life story. It feels like someone telling what they wish was their life story, and they do so in such a fantastical manner. The first and more minor of the two is she challenged the demon Baal to a fight. Oh, you heard that right. She challenged Baal to a one-on-one fisticuff fight. Somehow, she misspelled accept and put in accept, which I think is kind of funny. Now, the more major one is her misspelling of psychically. How are you supposed to be a psychic and not know how to spell psychically? It's not just one misspelling of the word either. It's at least 6 misspellings. That should be illegal. Now, going back to Baal, that's just one of the entities, well-known entities in the occult world that she's met and has had conversations with and fought on the astral realm. So, in a strange way, we have the broken clock theory about to come into play. Melinda's experiences happen in a dream state that takes her to the astral realm. She constantly talks about the astral realm, but doesn't go into detail of what the astral realm, as she calls it, actually is. One of the people I consulted with explained to me that the astral realm is pretty much a crossroads that connects with various places. Melinda is constantly being attacked on the astral plane by dark entities, and she's able to morph into something like a Xena warrior princess to fight them off, or so she claims. She had to train and practice to get to that point, and it really sounds now like she's describing something from a shonen anime or manga. So, out of the 5 people I was consulting with, 3 of them don't have much experience with the astral realm, but 2 of them did, and they somewhat validate Melinda's claims. I was told that you can train yourself to be aware and travel on the astral plane, and because you're a living being on this plane, you do attract various entities. The broken clock theory seems to reign true. But, even when Melinda gets it right, she's still wrong. Melinda explains that she's attacked by demons for 2 reasons. The first is because they're evil. The second is because they're afraid of what she'll become, and they're trying to stop her and I guess convert her to the dark side. By this point in the book, I couldn't help but vocalize how stupid this was. What I was told was that sometimes you do have to fight off entities, but it's not a bare knuckle hardcore throwdown, and these entities aren't named ancient popular demons. They're more akin to parasites, and they're aware of a person not because they're evil, but because of the energy a living being gives off on the astral. Think of a lit torch in the dark of night. It stands out, and because of that, it attracts. There is also training involved to be aware, move around, but training to fight demons and other things, not so much. When it comes to your look, everyone confirmed that you can change it as you're somewhat formless on the astral plane, so Melinda looking like some Xena warrior princess is possible. If one is to believe she's actually on the astral realm and not having a vivid dream. What Melinda doesn't mention is preparation is needed, the right mindset, and a few other things. Everyone I spoke to said you don't just get dragged to the astral plane, and all except one said they haven't had a full-on face-to-face conversation with anything like Melinda does. And the person who was the exception said she needs to be in a certain frame of mind and also perform certain things for this to be possible. This again has me questioning the legitimacy of Melinda's claims. The encounters she's had all play out similarly. If they're on the side of light and good, They say something like she's amazing, talented, special, and can't give up because she's here to help mankind. If they're on the side of dark and bad, then they're trying to manipulate her, talk about how she's a threat, and then try to take her out by some means. Melinda claims to have encountered an incubus that has had its sexual way with her, a Nazi demon that was disguised as a blonde-haired man who had his sexual way with her, the goetic demon Morax, who had his sexual way with her, Anton LaVey, who also had his sexual way with her, and yes, I do mean the Church of Satan LaVey, and King Payman she's encountered, who had his sexual way with her, and then some. Are you guys seeing a pattern here? Now, on the opposite side, her twin flame loves her, Hunter her guide loves her, and Archangel Michael loves her. Everyone wants Melinda in some way. I'm surprised Jesus hasn't tried to go after her. I'm sure his time will come though, so he just has to be patient. What I'm getting at is, to me, it seems like Melinda wants to feel important and wanted from all sides because she's so special in some way, but it's also very confusing. One moment she's a demon-destroying warrior, and the next she's a helpless damsel being taken, used, and abused by demons. She preaches female empowerment and how she's underestimated by demons, only to end up with them having their way with her. In special regards to King Payman, Melinda makes him out to be some type of sex pest horn dog. He seduces her and takes her to his piece of the underworld, making her his queen, forcing her to make love to him in a not so fun manner after brainwashing her. And if she refuses, he threatens to basically unleash the demons in his legion on her. It's so much wrong with this, and once more it tells me Melinda is a demonologist in name only. King Payman is not like that at all. Firstly, he's royalty and can have anyone he wants. He doesn't have to stoop to deals or manipulation. Again, Melinda trying to be special and wanted. The dialogue between him and Melinda is just atrocious. I'll spare you some of that torture. And she yet again shows how special she is. King Payman, you are indeed a rarity. Those that call my name only seek love they cannot get, money they cannot win, fame that isn't theirs, and yet you only wish to speak with me? Is there not anything you wish for, dear girl? Me. The things I desire are not of this world, your highness. Though there are many tangible desires that are indeed tempting, they would never truly satisfy me. What I desire is knowledge, enlightenment, power within myself, love, and many other things that money cannot buy and a spell cannot cast. King Payman, oh, I can make anyone fall in love with anyone. That can certainly be done if you wish. Just point him out, or her, if that is what you like. Ugh. Me. Certainly, I have no doubt in your ability to conjure miracles and impressive otherworldly power, but I would rather have love be of the heart, not of a spell. But thank you, my lord, for the offer. I am grateful. Oh, God. I don't like the dialogue, and again, it comes off as something not natural and forced, especially knowing how King Payman works. Now, Asmodeus seems more like the deity that would have showed himself to Melinda at that time, seducing her, taking her away, making her his. For those who don't know, Asmodeus is considered to represent the deadly sin of lust. He's mentioned in the Ars Goetia as well, so I'm not sure why Melinda gave aspects of Asmodeus to King Payman. Perhaps she didn't read that far? Or maybe she heard about King Payman from a movie and just added her own sex fantasy twist to him. However, two things are now clear. The first is she has no idea what she's talking about, and the second is me being convinced Melinda is so desperate for a man, she creates some weird fantasy about how she wants to be taken but also loved. Freud would have a field day with her. Melinda surprisingly talked about her dating life in the book, and it doesn't add anything except that she doesn't want to accept reality. Melinda mentions an ex-boyfriend who she calls Mr. T, and that an event occurred where she could have lost her life. Melinda attributes this to dark forces influencing the actions of Mr. T. In fact, she attributes dark forces to messing up a good portion of her relationships. So this is page 102. Being a demonologist and trying to date isn't easy because it's not exactly the subtle conversation you want to tell someone what it is you exactly do. When people picture the word demonologist, they most often think of something like exorcism films or paranormal movies that make you never want to enter a haunted house or use a Ouija board again. Granted, Hollywood is famous for exaggerating the truth from reality when it comes to the paranormal and nearly everything else, which is ironic she's saying that. But I'd be lying if I said it was all fake. I can't tell you how many times men broke up with me because of the paranormal things they'd start having when I would spend the night. The core aspect to why this occurs, though, is not what most people judge. These spiritual attacks don't happen because I attracted it. They happen because the entities want me to continue to be alone, to feel alone through continual rejection. This is a game they play to put the person's emotions into a negative aspect so as to conjure toxic feelings that could sabotage my work, focus, self-belief, purpose, and anything remotely positive. And though a lot of times demons have been successful for scaring some of the men away, it's not stopped nor deterred me from continuing to expose the truth. It's because of these demons that it's become my divine purpose and life mission to unveil what they're about and why we should never fear them, but face them with all of the power we possess within us. Somehow, I doubt demons and dark energies in general are the cause of the breakups and her being single. Truth is, Melinda is just not that important or worth the effort to ruin, despite how she might feel. Melinda herself admitted that Mr. T was bipolar and not on medication, yet she insists it was something darker behind his actions of nearly killing her, her daughter, and himself. No, Melinda, the guy had an episode, and for some reason you won't accept it for what it is. As for the other guys, I'm thinking Melinda is the problem. Something she refuses to admit, so she screams, "Demons!" which she's so sure are the cause. The only sure thing from this book is that everyone should love, want, and recognize how special Melinda is. The only thing I'm recognizing is how egocentric, desperate, and unstudied Melinda is. Now, as I said earlier on, Melinda's experiences with demons mostly happen on the astral realm. Many of these encounters occur because the entities are aware of her and want to stop her. She claims they become aware because of her reading them, watching a documentary, or even movies. She even says that the demons are aware of people reading her book, much like what she said in Demons and Familiars, and they might come for you. Well, nothing happened to me, so I guess I'm still not worthy. Melinda appears to have an ability called psychometry, which, not to my surprise, she doesn't mention. Psychometry is the ability to discover facts about an event or person by touching objects associated with them. A good friend of mine has this ability, and she laughed out loud when I was describing a few things Melinda experienced because of it. Melinda has met the Warrens because she read about them. She idolizes the Warrens and claims Ed Warren teaches her demonology. He's not doing a good job if so. She's met Hitler, who tried to convert her to the side of Satan because she was reading about him. She's met Anton LaVey because she was reading about him. And she met Astaroth from watching the Demon House documentary. The issue with this is she doesn't own any personal objects of the people mentioned, and I'm not sure how she figures the demon from the documentary is Astaroth, or why it would even pay her a visit. Oh, well, we know why. She's special and his Dark Lord wants her. This isn't how things work. This is all fantasy, and I can't believe there are people who will go with this. So, interestingly enough, not too long after watching or reading about these people or entities, Melinda would find herself in the astral realm dealing with them. Again, this just sounds bogus. She just has an overactive imagination. I think Melinda is extremely delusional. It's not her having psychic abilities or being a demonologist. It's her hearing or seeing something and somehow in her head rewiring it to fit her persona. Here's something that's a little funny. In the book, she talks about clients who have come to her. And you know what? I believe they have legit issues. Paranormal issues, that is. I think they are seeking help. They're just going to the wrong person. As weird as it is to say this, I do believe she's had some experiences because of the things her clients deal with. But other than that, I would say most of this, 99% of this, is all in her head. The advice she gives is terrible. She's dangerous and is liable to make something worse, not better. The fact she almost always jumps to it being a demon attack and not looking at things deeper is telling. She works off fear. She claims very hard not to be Christian, but she mostly follows Christian concepts and beliefs, especially concerning angels versus demons. I don't think she's done any research on the topic and knows nothing about theology. To say that she's humble and she has arisen to the fifth dimension, whatever that means, is laughable. No humble person writes a book and puts themselves as being someone so important that Satan themselves would come for. I'm not making that up. Satan himself came for her, Astaroth. You don't know? I thought you knew everything, my queen. No, this is what we do when we are going to take you into me. Unknown voice. No, she's mine. Quake of dread dealt the ground, the atmosphere and within as the unknown voice of what I assumed was greater authority over Astaroth. Glancing up at the circulation of demons that once surrounded me in the ring, all began to run in fear. Knowing that demons rarely fear anything, I knew from their own reaction that this meant serious trouble. Not that I wasn't in trouble already. Impending doom overtook my entire soul vibration as a portal of fire appeared out of thin air and a giant beast unlike anything I've ever seen slowly emerged through the portal. It was here in this exact moment that I knew I was in the presence of none other than Satan himself. I think she stole that from Constantine. Well, lucky for Melinda, she was rescued by angels and, of course, Archangel Michael, and this is when he confessed his love for her. Melinda really thinks she's so important that angels are going to constantly save her butt while leaving others behind because she's so special. When I got to the end of the book, I was exhausted because I had to force myself to finish. I never wanted to stop reading something so badly before. And when I was done, I had to think, what the heck was that? What is she trying to do here? And it hit me. I have to actually go back to the beginning of the book because she said exactly what she wanted. Wow, that's so cool that we're really a part of a universe like this. It's like being a superhero. A superhero. That is what Melinda wants. That is what she wishes she can have, what she wishes she can be. This entire thing is written like a manga or an anime where she is the super heroine. There are even moments where, of course, she doubts herself, she gets weak only to get pepped up and go Super Saiyan or whatever and beat up the bad guy. This is a giant ego trip just to build herself up and get butt pats. Isn't that crazy? There's only 3 types of people who will believe this and go with it. The first are people who are already fans of hers. The second are people completely new to the paranormal, supernatural, and occult, and they don't know any better. And the third are people who are just as daft as she is and believe they're also super psychics of some type in a fake spiritual war. Anyone who knows the smallest amount about the paranormal or has curiosity about the paranormal needs to stay away from this book and Melinda K Lyons as a whole. Her intentions might be in the right place, but this isn't cutting it, Chief. With Demons and Familiars, it was a bad book from start to finish, but it never got worse than what it started off with. I can't say the same for Demon Dealer. The book goes from bad to god-awful, and she markets this based on a true story, and I can't believe she's allowed to do that. If you want true paranormal stories, then go check out the Zozo Phenomenon, Demon Haunted, Demons Among Us, or Evil Archaeology. Demon Dealer is cringy, it has terrible dialogue, it's not believable, it's not scary, but it does have some entertainment value, but for all the wrong reasons. It's cringe-inducing, head-shaking, eye-rolling garbage. And because of that, Demon Dealer gets 1.5 Crimson Stars out of 5. It's more entertaining than stepping on a rusty nail and needing to get a tetanus shot, but you'll find it's less believable than Hugh Hefner living with a bunch of hot women for decades and dying a virgin. Thank you all for watching, and if you have a suggestion for a future review, be sure to let us know in the comment section down below, or follow us on Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can tell us there. Thank you again for watching, and we will be seeing you next time.